Welcome back, everybody, to another wonderful episode of Voice in the Void. I have a guest with me today, Mr. Aaron, which we've actually been trying to get something going for a minute. Had to
For a
put it
minute.
off. Um, but first time meeting,
Yep.
first time talking face to face ish. Um, but please, everybody, welcome him, Mr. Aaron.
Well, thanks
Go
for
ahead
having me.
and do whatever introduction you need to do on yourself.
um, Hi. Let's see. So my name's Aaron. I'm kind of an older guy, Gen Xer, born in the early '70s. So I've got that behind me. I grew up in a different time, but yeah, I'm new to the podcasting scene. It's one of my things that I wanted to do recently. I grew up pretty much in a pretty normal childhood. Great mom and dad, little sister. Couldn't ask for a better childhood. My dad got sick when I was 11. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Uh,
Anybody knows what Parkinson's is? Just look at Michael J. Fox, one of the most famous actors out there.
yeah.
That's what he had. But back
Isn't
then,
Michael J. Fox an advocate for it as well?
yeah, he's got his own Fox Foundation that actually donates a lot of money and research to trying to find a cure for Parkinson's because there is no cure
Mhm.
currently.
Yeah.
There's a lot of treatments and stuff. There's surgeries and that sort of thing, but there's as of yet there's no cure. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing now. But it's not a good thing there's no cure, but it's a good thing that he's doing and investing a lot of money into it.
Right.
Um, Back when my dad was diagnosed, it was unheard of for somebody in their 30s, or basically anybody under their 60s, to actually get diagnosed with Parkinson's. Back then,
Uh,
it was considered an old person's disease, like 70, 80, 90 years old. That's who got it. But he was one of the very first young onsets to be diagnosed with it, and so it was still relatively new, and people tried to figure out what was causing it, and they still don't know really. But yeah, that changed my whole family life, and in particular, it changed my life completely. Um, it took a few years before it really started to show up. It was just like a little finger wiggling at first, but then it moved up into his arm, his shoulder. He started walking differently. Um, by the time I was a teenager, about 17, my parents were kind of on the outs. They were splitting, um, eventually divorced. So I kind of became the caregiver for my dad. So that was hard. It was a difficult transition to go from being the kid to being the caregiver parent. Um, and that's when my whole personality changed because I used to be like a really fun-loving kid and outspoken and happy-go-lucky, but when
uh,
my when my dad was diagnosed, it changed my whole personality. And I in my late teens, I started to become very angry as a kid, kind of lashed out a little bit, but I kept a lot of it in. My
yeah.
20s, and it just got progressively worse. As my dad got worse, my anger and hate and all that other stuff just got worse itself. But I was one of the kind of guys that kind of kept everything in. I never
Hmm.
vented outward. I never hurt anybody. I never did anything to kind of um, express my anger. I just kept it all inside. So I spent a lot of my life that way. I based my decisions, relationships, stuff like that on just how I felt because I really didn't care. I didn't have the strength to kind of overcome it and try to forward something more positive. I kind of took the easy way out of everything. I took the path of least resistance
Uh,
because I just didn't care. And part of my personality was if my dad was sick, I'm not going to try to make my life better because then it's like how fair is that? That's just how I
right.
was wired. So long as my dad was suffering, I wasn't going to be happy and prosperous and all that other stuff. Um and yeah, I got married in my late 20s. That didn't last very long because I was still in kind of that I didn't care. I just didn't care about life. I didn't care about myself. Um,
Right.
my ex-wife. great woman and everything, but we were just not a match. I think we were convenient for each other. It's like, okay, well, let's try this, and that didn't work. So,
Right.
and then after that, I pretty much remained single up until 45 when I met my now wife. Um, but my dad passed when I was 44. So in 2017, my dad passed, and when that happened, my personality completely changed again. I went from being angry at the world and at life and at even God for a while to letting all that anger kind of dissipate. And it didn't quite completely go away, but it reduced like 80, 90%, just kind of went away because now my dad wasn't suffering. He was at peace. So now I can think about myself and I can actually start trying to live a life. So,
Right.
for 45, I'm now starting to, I'm 52 now. So at 45, I was kind of like, you know what? Now's a chance for me to try to build something.
Yeah.
And, and it's hard when you spend your life just being angry at the world. I dropped out of high school. I never finished. I never went back to college and did anything. I just kind of just went from job to job. I didn't care. But now I was like, now I got to make a life, and I'm in my mid 40s. So it's like I'm starting over, you know,
Mhm.
and it's not easy. And since I was wired that way for 40 years, I was like, now I got to try to build a life, but I got to try to get out of that default mode of being pissed off at everything. Every little thing would piss me off and go, well, I don't care. Screw it, you know? So but then I met my current wife right now that just kind of changed and added everything because I never thought I really wanted to be in a relationship. I kind of gave up being in a relationship. I figured I was going to die alone. I was just going to live my life. Whenever life wanted to take me, it's going to take me. But she popped into my life and it was like, it was a blessing, and she gave me hope. She gave me dreams. She gave me confidence. She gave me just that want to really better myself,
Clarity.
clarity. Yeah. And yeah, it was the best thing that's ever happened to me. And now here I am, 52. I'm writing books. I've got two podcasts. Me and my wife are pursuing a dream of opening our own big 200-acre ranch rescue to help dogs because I've always liked pets and animals and stuff. But once I met my wife is such she has a big heart for animals, just any animal.
Yeah.
And that kind of spilled off on me. And it's like, you know what? I think we're going to do it. And so that's why now we got 5 rescues ourselves. And we're just like, yeah. And it's kind of where I'm at. Yep. That's the first one. I've only got one episode. I got my friend Donna who came on and decided to be kind of my guinea pig of trying it out. But,
Go check it out, everybody.
yeah, it's just fun. It's talking about our animals, our love for our dogs and pets and cats and whatever you have. So that's kind of the direction
Awesome
I'm
with a
going.
P.
Yep. So yeah, that's kind of one side of me, and then the other side is my Watts Unplugged podcast, which kind of stems from my own life, my own personality, and my own story. So the idea there is to kind of tell my story of what I've been through in my life, and in hopes to maybe help others. You know,
Right.
I've, the guys you see there, those are all my some of my best friends.
Okay.
Some guys I've known since I was 10. So these guys are lifelong family and friends to me. And we just talk about men's issues. Our first couple episodes were about brotherhood. The last one we did was about depression and then jobs and careers and stuff like that. So we're kind of touching on subjects because I think, especially in my generation, we were raised a little different than the younger generations.
Yeah.
And I think we came from a time because I learned from my dad before he got sick. I learned from my grandfather, who was just like, he was part of the greatest generation. He was, born in the late 20s and just, he was in the war. He was part of the army and he'd been a truck driver for like 35, 40 years. So that's where I got my career from and my love of truck driving because I've been a truck driver almost 19 years now. And my grandfather was like the man's man. I mean, he was out there eating bacon grease and out there in the garden when he wasn't working, and just up until his 80s. I mean, that's just he never complained. He pushed through it, and that's kind of where I learned from that. Same with uncles. I had uncles like that. So I think we've really gone off the path as far as men go, and far as living life, how we conduct ourselves. Um, I know it's a big epidemic as the mental health issues for men. And,
Yeah.
now that I've gone through my own, and I'm still, even today, I'm still struggling with depression. I still question my own self worth. It's 10
Mhm.
times better than it was, but it's an everyday thing for me because I have that natural default to go into what I was 20 years ago. And
Right.
it's a constant struggle. So, but I figure, I'm going to tell my story. Hopefully it kind of helps other people. And that's kind of the whole idea behind Watts Unplugged is like, you know what? Me and my friends are going to talk. And I've actually started thinking about maybe I should just get on with, fellows like you and other people, invite them in and say, hey, just tell me your story. What have you been through in your life? What's your struggles? Because I think if we can get more of us out there talking about our issues and not being afraid to express what we've been through and say, hey, we are
Mhm.
vulnerable. We have gone through some bad stuff before, and this is how we're dealing with it, and this is how we've dealt with it. And
Yeah.
it's never too late. I'm 52 and I'm just now starting to gain traction in my life. It's never too late to give up and give
Right.
up hope, because and I'm in a lot of these Facebook groups that are like geared around men's mental health. And I see a lot of guys out there, they're searching for friendship, they're searching for answers, they're searching for reason, and I'm just like, I'm gonna try to be some kind of a voice out there that somebody might hear one day and go, hey, maybe I'll think about this instead of that. Maybe I'll take a left and not a right. It's
Yeah.
that's kind of the whole idea is to try to help other men get back to where they should be.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%. So there's a thing I say sometimes where sometimes say the yellow brick road, sometimes try to take a step off the normal path,
Mhm.
and that could be the new trail that actually leads you to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Um where Because I deal with depression, deal with a little bit of anxiety that formed from it. When I was in my teens, I never really dealt with it. I mean, I did, but I had ways to kind of bury it. I was always busy doing sports with schools, or at one point chasing girl to girl. Uh, it's just kind of what it was. And I I got with my wife, and as I got older and I stopped doing a lot of the stuff I used to do. So my mind was kind of is trying to fill the void, so to speak, with something.
Yeah.
And it got so deep into the depression side of it where no matter what I did, something negative always came up in my head.
Yep.
And
I'm right there with you.
there was always something just beating, more or less banging the drums, not giving any type of leeway,
Yeah.
which I needed. At a certain point, I really needed the leeway or some type of breath of fresh air, so to speak. And it took years. And then finally, uh, over 2 years ago now, well, 2024, about 2 years, yeah, almost 2 years to the day, where my wife finally came to me and said, "Hey, what do you think about moving?" Because I'm from Michigan. I'm from a really small town called Fenville, Michigan, and Pullman, Michigan. They're 10 minutes apart, and I grew up in both towns.
Okay.
Uh, Frankly, one, if you lived in Pullman, you either went to Fenville or Bloomingdale schools. Just kind of what it was. Um, But I felt trapped when I lived there, and it got to the point where in my head, I was ruining my own relationship. I was pushing my wife away before we got married. Well, even a little bit afterwards, but it actually took time of me sitting down and taking that thought like, hey, um, if something's got to change. And it just so happened as I'm sitting back and I'm watching, I was high. I used to smoke weed all the time. I don't do any of that anymore. Um, but I used to have to be high to deal with anybody. Didn't matter it was the wife, if it was the kids, if it was the family, friends, I had to be high because in my head, like, why do these people want me around when I'm nothing? I've
Yeah.
done nothing. I am nothing. And it took one of my buddies, he's like, you don't know how much of something you really are. Frankly, and when he said that, it kind of triggered
Hey, you're good.
minor disconnection on my side. But it it triggered that clarity, so to speak, in my head, where I could finally see where I was trying to go and or where I needed to be, I guess. And I took that step. My wife took that step. She's like, "You want to move?" Yes. And we instantly started looking. We managed to find a place within 2 months, which we owned uh, a mobile home, a trailer up there in Michigan in Fenville. Uh, and we moved down here uh to Texas. And it's like once I left the state of Michigan, once I knew, hey, I'm good again. Um, hang on. For some reason my video seems to be not working.
Disconnect.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, there you are.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you now.
Okay, maybe it's just on the profile then. Hopefully. Uh, but it was like once I was in the U-Haul making the final destination, more or less, final move. And I realized I'm never going to move back
Yeah.
because I don't need to move back. I'm not happy there. A lot of people they don't know. There was a point in my life there where I actually had a scheduled time I was going to off myself. And which would have been this year, this month, if I wouldn't have made some type of change that I needed. Um, so I I made that change. I I made a step in the right direction. I feel by making this move that everyone told me I was crazy to do.
They always
Um,
they always do.
They always do. And we've been down here up until this last month. Everything was going great. We're having a little hardship right now, but it happens, so to speak, once in a while.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with it. We're not letting it eat us up. We're not letting it get to us. Not allowing myself to go back down that rabbit hole of depression, and there's no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm happy. Where I'm at, as I tell my wife, she actually saved my life by the initial move. By bringing it to me and actually going through with it 100%, she saved my life. And here we are, we're in a gorgeous home, we're in a great area. Kids are doing great. Me and her both are doing great. Our relationship has been remarkable, better than we both probably thought it was going to be. So, it's one of the things where you just got to open yourself up to the change, or so to speak, taking that the path less traveled, as they say.
Yeah.
And what I did, and so far everything is great. I honestly have no complaints about where I am. Sure, sometimes I miss my nephews, I miss my niece, but that's just part of life. It's still, so as I've been saying, it's part of the move still. Like, maybe it still hasn't fully registered in my head. Hey, you're a day away from all your family.
No,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I actually know exactly what you mean because I was born and raised up in Tacoma, Washington, which is about an hour south of Seattle.
okay,
That's where all my family and friends are. That's where everything I know is.
uh-huh,
And there's a couple times where I almost joined the military, but because my dad was sick, I didn't want to be somewhere else when if he took a turn for the worse. So I always lived within an hour of where my dad was, and I never wanted to
yeah,
go outside of that. Um, but then when he passed away in 2017, I just met my wife soon after that, and we spent a couple of years up there. And I'm like, you know what? And my grandmother, who was a big part of my life too, passed away in 2019. I think
uh-huh,
2019. I think it was 2019 or 2020. I forget. But when she passed away, I was like, I don't have much family left. The most important people were my dad, my grandmother, um, and and go back real quick. When my dad passed in August 2017 was probably the hardest month because at the first week of August 2017, I found one of my friends had unalived themselves, which was really hard.
uh,
The second week, my uncle had passed away from pancreatic cancer. It just came out of the blue. He was diagnosed about 2 months earlier, didn't have much time to live, and it just kind of came out of the blue. Now, my uncle was my dad's older brother. So the third week is when my dad passed. So my uncle and my dad passed within a week of each other. They were brothers. They were like
uh,
best friends. They were brothers. So our family really took a hard hit. I took a hard hit because I was really close with my uncle. And then my dad passed at the same, a week later. It was kind of like a double barrel shotgun hit me. Um, so a lot of my family started passing away, 2017, 2018, 2020. Finally, we took a visit to Texas because my wife's friends are down here. Her son is down here. So I was like, well, let's go visit Texas. Let's see. Maybe I might be open to the idea of getting away from Washington. We flew down here. I fell in love with it. We went back. I said, okay, we're moving. So in September of 2020, we sold what we could. We packed up the RV trailer because I had a pickup and a travel trailer, and we had a house that was being built. So we're like, you know what? We'll pack up everything. We're head down there. So in September of 2020, we packed up everything, loaded the two dogs that we did have, and drove down to Texas. And it was kind of an adventure just driving down here. Um, and then once we got down here, the house that we originally were going to buy, it fell through. So we stayed with a friend of hers. And then the house that we're in now was being built. And then we moved in here in 2022. And it's been a dream. I miss all my family, all my friends. I don't miss because up in Washington, it's cloudy a lot. And when you have depression, it really kind of piles onto it. Then all my family passing away, my friends dying, I was just like, you know what? I got to get out of Washington because it's gray all the time. It's miserable. You can't go outside and do
Mhm.
anything because it's always raining.
Yeah.
So I was like, so moving down to Texas was the best move I ever did, and it just kind of relieved a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. It helped with depression because up in Washington, you feel closed in because there's mountains and everything around you. Being down here in Texas, as I'm sure you know, everything is just so spread out. It's so wide. It feels like you can breathe, you know. I'm
Uh,
still trying to get used to the heat. I'm not a heat kind of person, but outside of that, yeah. I mean, I Texas is great. The people down here are great. The food's great. The sunshine is great. I love the sun.
you know,
Oh,
it might sound halfway bad, but my favorite thing is I can right now, if I wanted to, I can go around the corner. There's about 5 different food trucks I could hit and get some of the best tacos I've ever had.
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I enjoy my tacos. I enjoy the um the baked potatoes that I can get from out here, the spuds, the loaded spuds. Um
Brisket,
eh, the briskets
yeah.
almost everywhere.
Yep.
Um
And Bucky's.
I've never been to Buc-ee's still. It's been 2 years and I haven't been there yet.
Oh man, it's a staple for Texas, and they actually just built one right here in Hillsboro, about less than 5 minutes from us, and it's like it's my wife's favorite. I love it. It's like man, it's a Texas staple. It's definitely cool.
Yeah, I've yet to go, and I have buddies that they're like, "Hey, dude, you gotta go check it out. You gotta. This is something you have to do."
Yeah,
I was
just
like,
go in there, just walk around. That's all you can do. That's all you need to do.
I was like, "Why do I have to go to a giant grocery store gas station?"
I it's well, it's a little bit more than a gas station. It's a novelty store. They got a ton of stuff that you can buy. Plus, they have the best as far as you're going around traveling through the country. They got the best bathrooms out there, the cleanest. It's just it's an overall experience. You know, it's just the environment, the atmosphere. It's busy. It's people are talking and laughing, and it's just a
Well,
good
I heard they
atmosphere.
pay really well too, so I
Yeah,
wonder why
yeah.
they're so happy.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's definitely it's a staple for us. So we go there every once in a while and grab some food. And, yeah.
Well, the nearest one to me, I think's about 35, 40 minutes from me.
Oh, okay.
I think. I'm pretty sure around the New Braunfels area.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I just I I try not to go to places where it could feel almost like an unnecessary uh trip to,
Yeah.
which, you know, I'm sure it might be a fabulous place, a great place. Not hating on it, not hating on people that go to it. My cousin tells me all the time, you gotta go there at least for the popcorn chicken. But I'm I don't ever go that way. I
Yeah.
That's out of the way by miles. Like I never go that far except for when I went to the trip to Tennessee or to Arkansas. When I went to the trip go back to visit in Michigan, that's the only time I'll ever go past that area.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I travel that far?
Yeah,
But I get it.
yeah, even before they built the one here, I mean, we would only go to Bucky's if we're going in that direction. We'd stop at, oh, we're gonna pass Bucky's. Let's stop in there and get some burritos or some brisket or whatever. So we didn't really go out of our way just to go to Bucky's, but if it was on the route, then we'll stop by.
Yeah. Yep. It's just, yeah. I don't know. Like I said, it's just fully been out of the way every time. I just
Yeah.
don't have a reason to go out there. I've been to HEB like 3 or 4 times itself, and I've been here for 2 years.
Yeah, my
And that
wife,
was
that's
for really the pie
yeah.
and ham, I think, for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, my wife loves to shop at HEB. It's her favorite grocery store to go to.
Well, I like it for the fruits and vegetable aspect
Yeah.
because it's fresh. It's actually fresh.
Oh
Where
yeah.
if you go to another really well-known grocery store, it's you tend to find molded out veggies or fruits, and
Yep.
it ruins that aspect.
But yeah,
But
going back to the whole moving thing, I think like for you, it was very, it was a positive thing because I feel
yeah,
like I was probably gonna drown up in Washington because it's like, you know what, I need a change of scenery. Yeah, I'm gonna miss certain parts of Washington, but and my friends were like, well, and my friends were understood. They knew what I went through. Some of them actually saw my dad before he got sick, and they understood why I needed to change. And you
yeah,
know, it was a relationship with my wife. Her son was down here, so I'm like, you know what, that's important for her, so it's gonna be important to me. And I'm like, I could use a change, and it's been the best move because now you know I've got my own house. Um, we're in a very nice area. I've never owned a house in my life because I never pursued a house, but this is the first house I've owned.
hmm
And it's just my emotionally, I'm a lot better. I'm not, I do have, I still fight depression, but it's not nearly as the same as what it was up in
yeah,
Washington, you
yep.
know?
Uh,
Y-
it's like weight lifted off the shoulders
Yes, very much.
in a sense.
Yeah.
It's a new view. It's peace. You don't have as much going on. Like if you live near the family, which isn't a bad thing. Not telling people to move away from their family
Yeah.
by any means, but living so close and always having something go on sometimes can put you in like a mental hole.
Hmm.
So with me, like I love my family. I miss my niece and my nephews, or nieces and nephews. Um, I miss my friends. I miss the family. Miss the friends a little bit more than the family, but I'm just playing. But yeah, it was like weight lifted off the shoulders, where
Yeah.
you finally get that so-called breath of fresh air everybody talks about, and you
Sometimes you need
missed
that.
out on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you'll feel like you missed out on it. You've always been put in situations you've never wanted to be in,
Hmm.
and now you're so far away that people can't do that to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've ever since my mom and dad divorced, me and my mom and me and my sister's relationship haven't been the best. It's been strained. It's had ups and downs, back and forth, arguments, you know. Um, so sometimes you have to get away from that environment, you know, and just
Yeah.
that area and just kind of say, you know what? I love my family, I love my friends, but I got to do this for me. And
Hmm.
you know, I suggest anybody that is able to can, you know, if they're in a place where it's bringing you down and you feel like you're
Hmm.
being sucked into a black hole, just change the
Yeah.
scenery, go somewhere different because it's just a whole new experience, a whole new world, you know, essentially.
Even if it's just for a vacation, get away for a week.
Yeah, exactly. You know, try something new because I lived in that kind of box where I was just like, you
Yeah.
know, I never wanted to venture out far from where my dad was. And I just had no desire to go see anywhere else. I'm like, this is my home. This is where I'm going to stay. This is probably where I'm going to die. But then everybody else started dying. I'm like, you know, I think I need to start thinking of myself for once and go, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to start a new life with
Right. I
my,
haven't done anything. I haven't seen anything. I want to go.
yeah. And so it was like, you know, me and my wife said, let's do it. So we came down here. She's got best friends down here. Her son's down here. So it was like, you know, let's try something different. So I was all
I
game
could
for it. And
respect it.
yeah, and I'll never move back to Washington. It's not
No.
because of my friends, but there's besides getting away from that environment, it was super expensive. It was becoming another California, and I'm just like, the house we bought here, we bought for $196,000. This same house up in Washington State is probably 400 to 500,000, and it's like
Yeah.
there's just no. I was like, and even when I was making
That's how I
80,
feel about Michigan. This house here, if we were to buy this house, it'd be somewhere around 200,000,
Yeah.
give or take. But you go to Michigan, you're looking at close to half a mil.
Yep.
With the yard that we have, you're looking at about half a mil,
Yeah.
which 500,000. It's a lot of money. And we're in quite literally two different zones.
Mhm.
And down here, sure, the neighbors are a little almost touchy. Like when you walk out the front door, you can see each other get in your cars.
Yeah.
But we have a really good sized backyard compared to where we are compared to all the neighbors around me. Our backyard is one of the biggest, and that's what I wanted. Somewhere the dogs can run and do whatever they want, the kids can run and do whatever they want. It's I love it here.
Yeah, and same
And
here.
it's
Same here.
peace. It's peace.
Yep.
And we've
Yeah,
talked about possibly moving to around Tennessee or Arkansas, possibly. No promises.
that's funny
But
because me and my wife have talked about the same thing. It's like, we love Texas and everything, but we also love the mountains. We're not going to go back to
yeah,
Washington, but
no.
one of my best friends moved from Washington after he retired from the Navy and bought a house in Wyoming. And we've been looking at Wyoming. We've been looking at 40 acres up by where he's at. And,
Okay.
just kind of get away and get back up in the mountains and kind of the hustle and
I've just
bustle.
been looking at 8 acres out there in Tennessee.
Tennessee was on
I
our
don't need
list
no.
too. Yeah.
Well, it's where the place we've been looking is, or I've been looking, is about hour and a half from my sister and her kids. Then it's about an hour from maybe from my cousins that live in Tennessee, but then it's still about 12 hours, maybe 10 hours, give or take, from my cousin that lives down here. And it's 8 or 9 hours from the family in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost the perfect T.
Yeah, my
Like
wife's
it'd be
family.
mid.
Yeah, my wife's family grew is all on the East Coast, DC area. She grew up in DC, Baltimore.
Okay.
She was there for like 19 years, and then she married a guy that was military, so they traveled around a lot. But her sisters, her brother, nieces, nephews, everybody's on the East Coast, so Tennessee would be a lot closer for her. Which,
Yeah.
I looked at property out there too. So I was like, you know what? Actually, it's Wyoming, Tennessee. We'll see. You know.
Yeah, it's gorgeous out there. It's if you want country land, you go there. You get it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Let me see. Let me look at this. I think for the most part, you actually covered everything that I even had questions written down. For the most part, at least. Um, I guess. Uh, so do you have like a career that you wish you would have actually took a step into at a younger age?
um, I did have a desire, like I said earlier, to join the military because
Yeah.
one of my best friends was military, and that probably would allow me to kind of do something different, gain
Uh-huh.
some confidence for myself. While because I love this country. Both my grandfathers were prior veterans, military. I got plenty of friends that are military, so it was definitely like an interest in me. But again, it was my dad. I didn't want to do anything that ever took me away from my dad. So
Yeah.
all I did was warehouses, manufacturing plants, just low key jobs. I because of the depression and the anger, I never really wanted to pursue much to benefit myself. I just didn't care. That was my attitude. So, but
Yeah.
I almost joined the military a few times just to say, you know what, I'm done with this crap. I'm out of here. But
What
the
branch?
it was probably going to be Navy because my buddy was Navy.
Okay.
Maybe get on a ship or maybe be a helicopter pilot or something like that. Because I'm not a very big guy. I'm only 5'7", so I was like, okay, I could probably be a pilot maybe because I'm kind of the right frame. Um,
And go see the world?
yeah, go see the world, travel, fly. I love flying. I've been skydiving and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't mind doing that but I've always also wanted to always like do something creative because I've got, thanks to my dad, I'm a big sci-fi geek. I'm into Star Trek and Star Wars and just anything science
Okay.
fiction. So I always wanted to be kind of a special effects artist or somebody that kind of creates starships and planets and that whole
You
thing. I
coulda
just
joined Space Force.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that would have been right up my sleeve. So but
You'd have
yeah,
been the one to know if there's aliens, that's for sure.
oh yeah, I have my head in the stars. I mean, when I was a kid, me and my buddies would lay on this grassy hill and just look up at the stars and just sit there for hours because we love space and it's about using your imagination. Even in the books I'm writing right now, I've got a couple of series that are kind of science fiction, but instead of just writing the books, I'm creating like a whole universe, like a Star Trek or Star Wars. I mean, I've
Yeah,
got ships, planets, aliens. There's a justice system. I'm just creating a whole world. And even though
yeah.
I don't have to, but it's fun to create. I love doing that stuff. So, because it kind of exercises my imagination. And it's something I learned from my dad because my dad was big on that stuff too. So that's kind of stuff that I like.
Um, I tried to join the military. I got denied from all but the National Guard because I got in some trouble when I was younger. But then National Guard denied me when they found out I had a daughter, and uh well, they didn't want if you had one kid, they didn't want the kid going without father or whatever it
Oh,
was,
yeah.
be- because I wasn't married to her mom.
Oh, okay.
Um so they had that whole rule, and it destroyed me. Then years went on, I tried again for the National Guard, and me and her mom still weren't married, but I had full custody, and I had this whole thing written out where my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, where my girlfriend would have gained custody of her and all this other stuff. And um, I went for the test. I did really well. Then it came to leaving, and they denied me because me and my girlfriend weren't married.
Oh, man.
So, because she ended up having one of my sons. Um, so it was a whole whirlwind. So it's like maybe I'm not supposed to go, but it
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, it happens, and I when I was back in high school, I did the ASVAB, and I did pretty well to where I could have been, if I had enlisted right away, I would have been a commissioned officer or something like that. I would have went into some kind of officer program. So I did all
Uh,
those tests, and I was like, yeah, that might have been where I went, but yeah, I turned it down. I was like, yeah, I'm going in a different direction. So
Shit happens.
yeah, it happens, but I look back, I'm going, it would have been cool to be in the uniform and to kind of see the world and
Mm,
kind of do the things that we've
just get
done.
that
But
experience.
yeah, to get that experience, because like I said, I love this country. It's like, protecting my home. I want to protect my
Yeah.
country from the bad guys, and
Yep.
but it's also stressful. I seen what my buddy went through, and he's got the PTSD, and it's hard for him even. So it's like kind of like the good with the bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I have cousins that went. I have some buddies that went. I have a buddy or two that never made it home.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, one was it was a practice is an accident or whatever during training.
Oh.
The other, I'm not entirely sure what happened to the other one, but um, yeah, stuff happens, and you just gotta think maybe something out there kept pushing that denial because maybe it was saving your life in a sense.
Yeah, and
'Cause
I
I've seen people go and come back, and they're 100% different.
yeah.
Everything about them is not the same, and people used to worry about my mental wellness when I was younger. So they're like, if you would have went, who knows how it would have went for your mentality side of it.
Yeah,
So
I've actually thought about the same thing. It's like, given how angry I was because my dad was sick, if I would have joined the military, I might have been one of those guys that just went all in, that just went, just 1,000%. Tried to get
yeah,
into like the Navy SEALs or do some more special operations and stuff like that. I probably would have wanted to go out there and fight and really get that anger out. I don't know if that would have been a good thing or not. I may have been one of those ones that's maybe went too far at times. I don't know. But I look back and I go,
yeah,
I don't know what kind of a soldier I would have made, because of you know, how I'm not gonna say mentally unstable, but I just had a lot of anger at the life and at world
yeah,
because my dad was sick. So I'm like, well, screw life, screw God, screw the world. I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, and screw everybody
yeah.
else.
The
That's
anger
kind of
took over.
the anger did take over, and that's I was just discussing this with somebody else the other day that it made decisions for me. My anger made decisions, made choices that I probably wouldn't have if I wasn't so pissed off at the world.
Yeah,
And that's one of the reasons why I want to do my own podcast. It's like, don't give into that anger because you're gonna be 50, 60 years old and go, shit, what did I just do with my life? I lived being angry because I couldn't change things that were completely out of my hand. I couldn't cure my
right.
dad's disease, but then you get angry at yourself for not doing more.
Yeah,
I couldn't cure his disease. Obviously I couldn't because I'm not smart enough. I'm not a doctor. But at the same time, I'm still pissed off that why isn't my dad getting sick while my buddies over here, dad, are going out and having fun and taking them places and being healthy and giving them advice and that's where I was like,
you had the resentment.
yeah, I had the resentment and everything. I kind of equate it's like my mom and dad gave me a really strong foundation for the first 11, 12 years. After that,
Yeah,
my further development didn't really go anywhere because I didn't have the people that I needed to make the better decisions and the better choices.
right.
So that's why I never got into drinking. I never got into drugs, smoking, anything like that. I've been drunk once in my life. I'm 52 years old. I've been drunk once in my life. I've never touched a cigarette or drug. Um, so that came from my really strong foundation. Plus, the uncle that passed away from pancreatic cancer, he was an alcoholic, and for a time, I was taking care of my dad and my uncle in the same household, and
Nice.
that was a crazy time. So
Yeah, that I bet that would be crazy. I couldn't imagine. I
yeah,
definitely couldn't imagine.
yeah, it was pretty because there were times where my uncle was so drunk he wanted to fight me for no reason. I'm just like,
Yeah,
why are you trying to fight me for? And I'm just like, you're my uncle, I'm your nephew. I'm getting something to drink out of the refrigerator, and then you think I'm giving you a bad look because you're drunk. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to deal with you. You were stealing stuff from my dad to sell to get more booze. It's just like,
yeah,
and that was pissing me off. But it's like, it's my dad's brother, so it's like I had this juggling thing, and so that really opened my eyes to
yeah,
a lot of different things. And I think it probably made me a little bit more jaded too, and more angry. It's like, why am I getting put into this situation? Why am I doing this?
yeah,
So, and then I look back at it, I'm like, maybe the reason I'm doing this now is because of all that. Maybe, I mean, you can look at it from a different point of view and go, hey, you know what? Look at what you went through. Now you got a chance to kind of tell your story. Maybe it helps other people. So I'm trying to look at it from that kind of point of view. It's still not easy, but it's the more of these podcasts I do, the more I start kind of talking about my story, it gets easier and it gets a little bit
yeah.
more, and I feel better about myself because I've never cared about myself. I've always thought I was like the lowest form of,
It's crazy, right? How you were
yeah,
raised up not to share certain things or share certain emotions,
yeah.
and when you're older, you're sharing those things they told you not to. You're talking, you're sharing the emotions, and you feel better about it, right?
Yeah, and that's
Where
it. Yeah, and that's the whole idea between because I started that whole podcast. It's like, you know what?
Huh?
It's okay to keep things in, but it's also okay to kind of talk about it too, you know? I mean, it doesn't make you any less of a man to talk about stuff, you know? There's things
No.
there's stuff that'll trigger me that I'll start crying. You know? I mean, I had to put my oldest dog down a couple years back, and that ripped me in half, you know? I mean, it's
Yeah.
because Samantha, she got me through my dad's death, my little brother's death. It was just, dogs are important to me, and yeah, when I see a dog in pain, it'll get me teared up. And sometimes talking about my experiences with my dad, it can get me emotional, and it's okay to be emotional, But for me, there's a good balance you can do between being the strong, silent, masculine type, and then you can kind of dig into your feelings and kind of let you say, hey,
Yeah.
you know what? It's okay to hurt. It's okay to cry. It's okay to do this, but you can still kind of retain your quote unquote manhood. You can be
Uh,
both. There's no shame in doing all that, especially as you get older. It's like, you know what? That's what being a man is about because we feel emotions just as much as women do. And it's like, you know, but we're taught to kind of keep everything inside and keep it to ourselves.
yeah.
And on one hand, I agree to a point. I think there's certain things that you do keep to yourself and you just kind of push through it. But then there's other things there's no shame in. I'll tell my wife, you know, I'm having a bad day. I'll break down because I'm thinking about my dad or I miss my dad or, something will trigger me and I have my wife to thankfully talk to and it's okay to do that, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. No, you just gotta remember that what they told you, they as in the generation before you, what they told you about don't share your emotions, don't cry, don't there's no reason to talk about what you're going through. What they've shared about that has, well, been wrong. Because I was raised up that way where everything you're going through, there's no reason to talk about it at all.
Yeah.
Don't show your boo-hoo emotions. It's either put a smile on your face or be angry, suck it up. And when you think on it, nowadays you have more and more guys that are showing the emotions they were always told to hide, or not even showing by choice. They're mentally like it's a break. It's finally too much to where it just explodes, and you're seeing them same people might be very good people, never done anything wrong in their lives, and now they're ruining their life because they're exploding.
Yeah. And
And
that's the
it's
thing.
terrible to see.
Yeah, it's because when we do tend to keep things in, it eats away at us. It eats away at who we are as people. I mean, I kept stuff in for 30, 40 years and it made my life miserable. I was miserable.
Yeah.
And what's worse is that because of that, you feel worse about who you are as a person. You don't value
Yep.
yourself as a person. It's because you got
Yeah.
all this stress and weight, and it's like, man, why does this keep happening? Why is all this and this? And so you start questioning yourself, and then you're not
Mhm.
good to anybody else, especially when you get
Yeah.
involved with a marriage or something. And
Yeah.
but there's a point to where it's like it's good to be strong and silent at times, and don't let little things stress you out or trigger you. You can't. In fact, today I responded on this in one of these men's groups, and this guy had an issue, and I said, hey, it's okay to do this, but I don't think it's the facts, but. And then this guy just went off on me, and he's just like, "F you," and this and that. I'm like, dude, why are you so triggered by just us having a conversation here? Just chill out, relax a minute. You don't
Yeah.
a lot, and I see these younger generations, they're so easily triggered. And it's like, dude, come
Yep.
on. And they lash out and and it's the simple stuff too. It's like, man, that's where I'm kind of like, we gotta, as men, we gotta kind of like sit there and go, you know what? Don't let little stuff trigger you so easily because it'll put you in a frenzy. And it'll put you in a dangerous sort of mind. It's good to be emotional,
Yeah.
but not if every little thing's going to trigger you and every little thing's going to get you so. at 1,000% emotion. You got to be able to handle that
Yeah.
stuff and go, okay, what you're going through because you stubbed your toe is not the same as if your dad's dying of cancer or something else.
Yeah.
Pick and choose your battles and what to really get stressed over. And
Right.
so much today, especially with social media and stuff, people are just so easily ruffled, and it's just like, come on, guys, really don't let that shit bother you.
Yeah. Yeah,
'Cause
no, 100%.
yeah,
I agree with everything you said.
there's so much more out there that you can get pissed off about and you deserve to get pissed off about, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff out there that you should just turn the other way or just don't mind it,
Mhm.
because you got to focus your energy on other things that are worth it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, everything you're saying is 100% true. Um, uh, so I am gonna have to rush out here. I've been getting my other phone blown up the whole
Oh
time.
no, it's all good, man.
Apparently I'm running late to do something.
No
Uh,
problem.
but is there anything like you said you're an author? You have your podcast. I showed made sure I showed them. Is there anything you want to share? Shout out your books, family, your podcast, anything you want to shout out before you hop off of here?
Well, I always love my family and friends, and I definitely will have them watch this and stuff because I like them getting to know me a little bit better, insides of me that I haven't talked to. Books,
Yeah.
I'm writing about 10, 15 different ones, so I haven't got anything really published, but it'll be out
Okay.
there someday. The two podcasts are Watts Unplugged, which is kind of geared around mental health and men and stuff like that. And then I got the
Yep.
Possum podcast with the PAW. That's geared around dogs, which ultimately will lead to a dream of opening our big ranch rescue. And that's where I want to do for the rest of my life till I retire. So,
Well, hopefully you get the chance to do that. That'd be a really cool thing to do.
yeah,
So hopefully you get to do that.
yeah, I definitely follow your dreams because, even at my age, you can still do it. It's never too late.
Oh yeah, never too late. Um, Thank you again for joining me. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me,
Um,
man.
uh, Hopefully can get you back on. I want to see where this goes here in a couple months. So please reach back out. I definitely want to get set up again and hopefully our conversation can go further. And
Uh,
maybe you have something new to say. You got the 200 acres, whatever it might be that you're wanting to get. Um
oh, yeah,
It'd be cool
life's
to
always changing. So, yeah, it's good. And I'll
exactly
definitely,
never know what can happen between now and then.
yep. And
Um
definitely have you on my show
but
too.
yeah, oh, definitely. We can definitely work something in. Um, but thank you again for joining me. Uh, yeah, it's been my pleasure. It was a great conversation.
Oh, same here,
Thank
brother.
you everybody for watching. Please go check out his podcast, Watts Unplugged and Possum
Yep.
with a P. Awesome with a P.
Yep.
Um, please go check them out. I have watched a couple of your other episodes on your Watson Unplugged. I feel like I said that wrong.
No,
Um,
it's all good.
but please go check them out. They're actually really good, and they do have full conversations. Um, it might be something some of you might actually enjoy.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe.
so go check them out. Go subscribe, and thank you, everybody. Peace.
See ya.